Okay, now we start our class, identifying a research problem, chapter 3. Where are we now? Right, we already done the literature review a few weeks ago. Right, from the review, inshallah, we will later understand the problem statement. Because problem statement is important. Without problem, we cannot design any questionnaire to solve the problem, right? From the problem statement, will later will be derive our framework, identified variables, and then also we will formulate hypothesis. There are 5 learning outcomes for this topic. The first one, once you complete this topic, you'll be able to identify the step in the research process. You will identify problems, areas that you are likely to be studied, and discuss how problem areas can be identified in work setting, and also you'll be able to write your research problem clearly and precisely. After literature review, the researcher is in a position to narrow down the problem from its original broad base and define the concept of concern more clear. Right now, after you reading so many articles, so many other materials, you have very big idea. You have very general idea. But in context of your study, you should be able to put everything in order, and then you should be narrow down your study. What is problem? Problem is actually any situation where a gap exists between the actual and the desired state. It doesn't mean that something is wrong, but something that worth to be studied. Either you are doing on the applied research or doing on the basic research, you are required to have the problem. These are the problem definition. Defining problem, right, could be an issue of interest. Right. First one, find answer to improve existing situation, areas where some conceptual clarity is needed, and situation in which the researcher is trying to answer a research question empirically. Empirically here, usually your studies, your published papers that have a result statistic with the findings. What do we do with the problems? Are we supposed to talk about them? Or you want to ignore them? Or you try to solve them? Again, here we need to try to solve the problem. It's already putting things in perspective. Your idea is supposed to be like this, right? But right now, I'm sure, right, something like this. You have so many ideas, so many information, but it's everywhere. So this is a problem. It's actually a statement or question, a problem worth basing your decision around. And this is not always an easy thing to find. It's quite challenging for you to find your problem. Problem is actually an issue, controversy, or concern that lead to the need to undertake the study. there are basically three ways of how problem can be identified. The first one, through observation. For example, that as a researcher, you can see or sense some changes that occur in certain environment. For example, that these changes are the attitude, feelings, in one environment. Second, uh, through preliminary data collection. For example, like you go there in one setting, you have interview a respect or relevant person, right, to see uh, your intuition. Then from there, you can get an idea of feel what is happening in the situation. From there, you might settle your problem. And the third one, through your literature survey, right, from readings, not only from your articles but also from your newspaper, then you can identify your problem. And there are three criteria to assess the quality of the problem, right? The first one, relevant. Relevant here meaning that in your context of studying setting, for example, right? Um, you are a student of faculty of hotel, then your relevant topic must be around, they evolve around the hospitality. Your study must be feasible. Feasible here meaning that you can manage to get data, you can just can go to the setting and collect the data. Your subject will participate to answer your survey. And the last one, your study must be interesting, right? Um, because of the when you have a strong is interested in your study, inshallah, right? You'll be able to complete your study. How to make sure that you have a good problem statement, right? After you already covered the relevant, uh, the feasible and also interesting, right? You from there you can make sure that your statement must be written clear, precise, and short, right, in your writing. Then it's important for you to get interesting, because, right, so you can stay motivated. So what meaning of the visible? Visible that you have no restriction of the research project, for example, time, money, and you know how to uh, to maneuver all the resources, right? And lastly, you can see that your idea would be something like this, right? And if your writing also be like this. Where the problem statement should be placed in thesis, usually right after um, the background of the study. And if you reading your article, it should be under the introduction of the study, right? Looking for research issues is true from the experience and from the listening and talking with professional and expert in subject area. This is what we call as the preliminary interview. And then from your literature. Looking for research issue, you might focus on the trends and resolve problem or concern in any of the following areas. Uh, So quite challenging in preparing this problem, right? Especially who have a very big idea that you need to focus your and you need to to nail down your study. From your writing of your problem statement, you must also understand that to whom your writing should be. In context of student, usually it will be among your examiners and your supervisor. If you are writing for the company, you for the benefit of the company. Right. These are some example here. Right. Look at the statement. Okay. And then usually the word that used to identify the public statement, we started with the however. We have all good thing happen, right? Somehow this something happen that might lead to the problem of the setting. And this also again the red color.